We're going to dive into systems. When you look at, and if you guys have gone through my growth score and gone through kind of the accelerated kind of growth score, the systems is the lowest performing metric overall out of everybody that's taken that assessment. It's crazy, huh? You look at the 8 different growth factors, systems is the lowest one. And so I really want you guys thinking about this in what you're doing more so in a systematic way. And I get systems and processes. I mean, that's why Kinder hired me in 2004, is to implement this on the operational and financial side of things. And I hate building systems. I'll tell you that. So like, I do it the easy way, and I'll definitely break that apart and share it with you of how I do it. But I understand how critical they are. One of the things that I want you guys thinking about as you're building your businesses is that it's all about assets. And everything that we're doing is that we have to be thinking in terms of assets. And when we talk about systems and creating standard operating procedures, documented standard operating procedures for how you do things in your business, those are assets. And the reason real estate agents can't sell their companies is because they build a brand on themselves, and they have a database or a book of business that doesn't exist if they don't exist. But if you have a business that is not solely dependent upon you, that has a great database that you're proactively communicating to, that is generating opportunities on a consistent, predictable basis because you have a documented process, that is an asset. That is worth something. So when you see valuations of companies are worth this, when people go in and say it may have a 10x multiple, but then they start minusing. Oh, if I take you out of the business, what it's worth? Oh, that's -2 points. Hey, do you have anything documented? Oh, that's -2 points. Hey, do you have predictable selling systems of how to generate and acquire clients? Oh, you don't have that? Oh, that's -2 points. Now you're down to 1 or 2 multiple. And that's typically where most real estate businesses end up, and they ain't worth shit. I mean, I'll like, you guys would laugh if I told you what we sold our lot and office for. You'd be like, really? Like you would scratch your head, because it's just we didn't have the assets like in place the way that they should have been. So I want you to think about it in that way. It's like, I got to document these processes. It's like, no, I'm building an asset. So I want you thinking about it that way when you go through this, because it's not sexy, but you are building something that is worth something. And so when you step back and you think about really what are systems and processes, really just what is your ability to identify and document all the critical value creation processes, and then leverage these processes to execute ongoing, consistent, accurate, timely execution. That's how you have to kind of be thinking about it. And you guys probably do it just on a day in and day out basis. So think about this for a second. Think about this with you, your business, and even Renee chiming in, right? Renee she should have SOPs for her Airbnb business, right? That are documented, proven. That makes what she's coaching and teaching on to acquire partners for investment properties, when she has documented processes of how we go about doing this. So let me ask you this. Think about these scenarios. Are you the only one who truly knows how to execute the most critical processes in your company? Does that sound like you? Or some standards and processes exist, but they're largely driven by tribal knowledge, right? We just have been doing it so long, we just know what to do, and understood only by a handful of people. Very few are documented, and what has probably been documented is out of date and not even used. It's not even how we do business today. Does that sound like you? Yeah. Or I'm going to lead up to Bo. Bo will be the last one. I'm going to lead up to this one. Most of our truly critical processes are documented, and team members receive regular training on their core areas of responsibility. Most of them. Okay. And then what we strive to is that all of our critical processes are documented. Team members receive both initial, when they come on board, ongoing training. It's reviewed, it's updated every 90 days. That's what we're striving for. That's when you have predictability. That's when you have scale, is when you can get to that point, because now you're systems dependent, not people dependent. And a lot of us are in a situation to where we are people dependent. We are people dependent. But being able to have that, being able to cross train, somebody calls in sick, awesome, get to feeling better. Like, and you don't worry about it. You don't skip a beat. Being able to bring that in. Okay. So understand kind of where you're at and know what we're moving towards. The easiest way to really think about this, the best person to document this is the person doing the job. And in the beginning, it's you doing the job. So guess what? You get to document it and you get to lay it out. But then once you train and you get somebody in there, then that goes back to that 90-day iteration. Have them redo it and re-record what it is that they do, because they're going to add different things to it. And if you're a training and growth organization that's always pushing and always trying to get better, you're going to learn things, you're going to implement new things. And so things are going to tweak along the way. Vern Harnish, his recommendation was always, his rule of thumb, what he liked is that he liked 2 priorities every quarter. One that hit the balance sheet, one that hit the P&L. So one we're going to focus on that's going to build an asset, one that we're going to focus on that's going to drive revenue. And then he said, pick one core process that you're going to focus on this 90 days to overhaul and improve. And when you really get down to it, we've only got maybe 7 to 9 real critical core processes in our business. And so think about that. If you're overhauling one every 90 days, that means within every 2 years, you have completely new, updated how you do business every 90 days. Right? You've got a new one. Over 2 years, it's completely revamped. It's completely new. You find new efficiencies. You find new technologies. You find better ways to deliver value. You have additional touches, things that you can do. So don't get overwhelmed thinking, man, I got to tackle all of this at right now. No, you got to tackle what's the most critical. And really, the process for us has always been, we're the whiteboard guys, so we got whiteboards everywhere. We would just lay out, hey, what are these most critical parts of our business, and then we would prioritize what is leaking. Or I think you guys have heard me talk about above the water line or below the water line. And when you look at it from the analogy of the boat, what core process right now is, if we take a shot, is going to be below the water line. So for you boat guys, what happens when you take a shot below the water? You take on water. That's what puts the ships down. Now, above the water line, we can take shots all day as long as we're not standing there and get hit by it ourselves. So we can afford to take some shots above the water line. So you just have to look at and prioritize, is this something that is a threat below the water line that could cause us to take on water? And we really need to look at it. So we really want to identify what those core processes are. I'll give you some examples of the ones that we've had over the years. You prioritize what is potentially going to take on water, and then you get into how you're going to build it. And essentially, guys, it's just really this simple. Document the way you do things, and it allows us to be consistent based upon the overall experience that you want to have for your clients. That's it. Document the way you do things. That allows you to be consistent. to consistently deliver the value and the experience you want to have for your ideal client.